Now you're welcome along. So we're on the air 2 o'clock Sunday for 3 o'clock kickoff in Dublin, Ireland against Italy in the Aviva Stadium. And Andy Farrell has made a number of changes. Shane, 6 in all, 4 in the pack, 2 in the backs. All of the players out 30 and above need a rest. And it's fair to say those coming in aren't too shabby either.
Yeah, some need a rest, some have niggles, some are part of a rotation of the squad to ensure players are satisfied, feel as if they're contributing to the team, and that's keep their motivation up and their ambitions identified. And then the other important element is you've got players who have played to hedge against injuries later in the tournament. So I do think it's a very comfortable decision for Andy Farrell, and it's maybe the best squad, or the most. Yeah, it's the best squad Ireland have ever had. There's big changes. It doesn't look like a hugely weakened side. Now, he hasn't always, rung the changes when he wanted, and when he maybe should have. And we saw that in the World Cup. Matt and you spoke about it a number of times. But I think there was specific issues there around Sexton, but there does seem to be a greater trust in the numbers coming in. I know it's against Italy, but would you feel terrible if any one of those individuals had to make that change if they remained on for the following week or two? I'd feel pretty comfortable, I have to say.
Curious in that back row. Baird, obviously extraordinary athlete, and there's a sense he could be something very special, and they always give him a chance. Anytime they can get Baird in, they do look to him. And then Conan is at 8 and Van der Fleer drops out, but it's Doris who moves to 7. Do we lose much in Doris when he moves to 7? I appreciate the temptation to get Conan into the side.
It's an interesting one, Joe. You've got 2 great number 8s there in Doris and Conan, but they're pushing out one of the best, if not the best, open side flanker in the world in Josh Van der Fleer onto the bench. And that makes Caelan Doris, who's also the new captain, have to play a different style of game. He has to be very, very aggressive at the breakdown. He has to get to those first rucks, something that Josh Van der Fleer is brilliant at, and does it take away from his play? Well, that's an interesting concept, and I think it's the burden of having 2 great number 8s. I mean, Conan starts in every other, apart from Artie Sevilla and probably Gregory Aldred, he would start in every other national team.
It's an absolute luxury of riches to have the 2 of them. Now we have to bear in mind that Caelan Doris has played 7 for Ireland before and got man of the match that day that he did. So this is not a new conversation that we're having about. Conan's form at the moment is very, very good. How do we try and get him into the team? Do we try to play both of them? You can't drop Doris. OK, let's play Doris at 7, put Jack in, give Pete a break. So you're always trying to manage different combinations amongst it. But Doris is absolutely well able to play at number 7. And is he better at 7 or 8? He's probably a better 8. But on a week like this, when you want to get Jack into the team, perfect opportunity to give Caelan his first captaincy start.
And is the traditional Van der Fleer 7, O'Mahony 6 and Doris 8, is that still, in your eye, the best balance, the best back row? Just. Yeah. I think there's little or nothing. This back row tomorrow is probably far more athletic in terms of the damage those 3 guys can do in open field. Pete obviously had a line out over the ball, his on-field leadership. So there's so many different variables that you're always trying to answer. But as an out-and-out athletic back row, this one is pretty impressive.
I think you have to do this as well, right? What happens if Van der Fleer gets injured through the campaign? Actually, you need to have Doris to have some time there. Peter O'Mahony rightly rested for this game. Can he play? And you could play 5 games in the trot for Ireland, I don't think, or at his very maximum, or we're certainly asking a lot of him if he's doing that. So, what's our options there? It's Bard comes in. He's something, as you said, that they always want to see more of and give an opportunity. And again, Conan, I know they're sort of labouring this point, but he has massive ambitions. Remember, he came off the Lions tour as the Lions number 8, like an exceptional player. So, and he will be thinking under other circumstances, this position should be mine. And even though Doris has been so good, find another spot for him or find another spot for me. So I think. And this isn't the case everywhere in Ireland, and it certainly hasn't been the case historically. But we're in an extremely comfortable position in the back row because there's the starting 3 that we have at the tomorrow. There is another probably 4 that are very comfortable in those positions.
And you probably got to say back 5.
Yeah.
The ball carrying in the Irish back 5 is phenomenal. It's the best I've seen in the 25 years I've been watching, been in Ireland doing this. There is no weakness in the ball carriers. And matter of fact, and that's one of Joe McCarthy's great strengths, his ability to get between the defenders and just carry that ball and always get fast ruck ball.
Yes.
Very, very positive.
Last question for me on that second row. Interesting afternoon for James Ryan.
Yeah.
Line-out issues of the World Cup. Joe McCarthy emerges.
Yep.
Dropped to the bench for Friday.
Yeah.
Line-out goes very well. Comes back in alongside Joe McCarthy. Sneaky kind of unfair pressure perhaps on the line-out to go well for James Ryan calling it tomorrow amongst other things. He's an interesting point in his career last few years.
It is, and James was, everyone talked, he was the next captain.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be the captain, you've got to make the starting 15. And, competition is what drives outcomes in sport. It's what pushes world records, all that. And it's the same within a team. You've got to have that creative tension in the team that I have to play well because this guy's behind me. And now James was put on the bench last week. Tough call. Played really well coming into that game. Played really well when he came off the bench. But the other 2 guys in the field were absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
Tyke Byrne and Joe McCarthy were sensational. So here's James looking over his shoulder at the young bloke, or looking up at him now. He's a big dude. I've got to play well. Great competition.
And Matt, it wasn't just he was the next Ireland captain. He was going to be the next Lions captain.
Yeah.
And I have to say his performance hasn't slipped massively either.
No.
There have been issues with the line-out. We know that line-out isn't a single-man issue. But yeah, he'll be feeling hard done by, and let's see how that manifests in the game tomorrow.
Yep.
OK, well, join us from 2 o'clock tomorrow. Kick-off is at 3. That's the forwards. We'll naturally be talking about the backs as well in the build-up. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Virgin Media 1. We'll see you then.